Money, 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 money. I'm rolling in the money, 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 money. I get that fast money in a. I get that fast money in a. Money, 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 money. I'm rolling in the.
Hello and welcome to Week 17, the final regular season episode of Sharp Bets and Fantasy Sets. I am your host, Nick Fiorentino, fresh off of facing Alvin Kamara in my fantasy finals and fresh off of Christmas to talk all things football with my three best friends that anyone could have, starting with big-time Tim Sikora. Tim, how you doing?
Let me be the first one to say it again. If you've listened to this show, you've heard me say it a million times. Sam Darnold is the future, and I cannot wait for the Jets to win 3 straight games. Woo! Oh, this number 2 pick in the draft. We're going to trade out of it, acquire more draft picks, knock the draft out of the park. The Jets are coming back next season, baby. Let's go.
That would have been my point last week. Obviously, I missed because of work-related stuff, but that would have been my point. They got a ton of money. They got a ton of picks. And Sam Darnold is still a viable quarterback with the right weapons and the right coach. Maybe Doug Peterson, hint, hint. But we'll see. Sir, how we doing today, sir? I know you turned, carry the one, somewhere between 38 and 72 over the last time we saw you. So, sir, happy belated birthday, and how we doing?
Man, not too bad, brother. Not too bad. My boys now all of a sudden now they want to win a ball game. Like, sorry though, but we're doing all right.
Well, Kittle's back, so it's nice.
Yeah, and I believe my man has something in there. What's up,
Sir,
old boy?
Sir, here's to you. Here's your birthday shot, and somehow your beat-ass fucking 49ers.
My boys scored more than 2 touchdowns. I told you they would, old boy. I told you they would.
This double shot of now what is warm fucking Hennessy is going to be gross.
Enjoy.
It's gross in any way.
Gross cold, too.
And, of course, we'll be introducing...
Y'all watch your mouth, all right?
We'll be introducing Mr. TruExact himself as our guest yet again. I appreciate him filling in for me last week, although I got a ton of text messages thinking I was still on the show because they thought I was Latch, because Latch has the lighting that I did have earlier on. It must have been the goatee. I don't know who's more offended by that, me or Latch, but I digress. Scott, how we doing?
I'm all right, man. I just want to say, raise your hand if your team won last week. Wow, looks like one hand isn't raised here. Must suck, huh, Mr. Host? No, but I'm rooting for you guys this week. I actually wore the only Kelly Green great thing I have. This is actually a Down East Wood Ducks hat, the North Carolina minor league affiliates to the Texas Rangers on Collard Green night, which is pretty cool, so I bought it on Fanatics. But, Nick, you know what? If we end up beating the Giants and you guys let us down, I just can't forgive you for that. And even though I consider you a best friend, I guess, we actually have never met in person. Little known fact.
We haven't. And the more you talk about the Eagles, the less likely I would like to meet you in person. But I'll show off my Sharp Bets and Fantasy Sets glass. It was a nice Christmas. Got a lot of good gifts. Might be changing the setup around. Got the Drinko board behind me for shots. But we'll get into it as always, guys. This is Sharp Bets and Fantasy Sets, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at SBFS Show. The show will be dropping Wednesday and on iTunes on Thursday, YouTube on Wednesday. Scott, what do you have for the TruExact show this week on Friday?
Oh, we're starting the new year off with William Hung from American Idol back in like 2004, who's now a motivational speaker. It was really wild to talk to him, man. It's if you want to know the story of how he got on there, he goes into it, and you kind of end up rooting for the guy now. But yeah, it's really cool. So that'll be Friday and like 10 in the morning. So look out for that one. And I also want to say I am not forcing Nick to put me on this show. I am really not. In case anyone's wondering, I've just happened to be filling in the last couple weeks because the guest list. That's all.
Yep. And just a little fun fact. So a couple weeks ago when you had mentioned William Hung, I said to Tim, I bet you can't think of one song. And he did. He said She Bangs. And truth be told, and shame on me for this, I in that split second when I challenged him to come up with a song, I thought William Hung was a guy who sang Gangnam Style
Oh, wow.
I didn't think he was going to be able to know that that was Gangnam Style, but it's not Gangnam Style, so joke's on me. Tim did know a song, so.
In fact, does William Hung still bang, Scott?
I don't know. I know he doesn't sing or perform. He motivational. Just watch the episode. You'll see.
So he definitely bangs. Okay, that's good.
And we're not doing Mark's side of the ring this week because Miguel's terrible. Although I think we can all agree, shout out to Brody Lee, rest in peace. You know, tremendous wrestler. Sucks to hear the news that Luke Harper, aka Brody Lee, passed away from having some lung issues, I guess. That caused him to pass away at the age of 41. So yet again, another wrestler. Active wrestler, but another wrestler gone way, way too soon. So, but we won't be doing Mark's side of the ring. We'll be doing sharp bets and fantasy sets. And before we talk, I think we're going to start with the parlay picks. Or no, we're going to go around the horn on the playoff picture. But before we do that, we just wanted to touch on the future of sharp bets and fantasy sets. And obviously, this show was created with the idea to win money during football. We don't want to just come on the show and talk for the sake of talking. The idea behind this entire show, the genesis of the show, was to win money. And hopefully you guys have while watching this show, because I know I have. Sir's won some money. Tim's won some money. I think we all profited from this season in the NFL, and we continue to hopefully profit on this season of the NFL. But there is going to be a little bit of a gap. We do have some shows that we're going to be doing in January and February for the playoffs of the NFL, and we will change the format around just a little bit because obviously we're not going to be doing parlay picks, primetime picks. We're still going to be discussing DFS lineups and optimal lineups for anybody who plans on doing that during the playoffs. For what we know right now, we have Moravik coming on January 12th. For the divisional round, the wild card and the championship, the conference championships up in the air, but it's going to be Latch one of those days, and it's going to be Scott the other, and then tune in for the Super Bowl. We're trying to get a special guest, somebody more famous than all of us, to break down some Super Bowl football talk. So that's all I got. You guys ready to talk NFL?
Good.
Let's do it.
All right, I'm pulling it up right now because what I wanted to do right now is go over the playoff picture as it is right now, plus likely scenarios that we could be seeing. And we'll start with the AFC. And what I have is if the season ended right now, we'd be looking at the Chiefs at the number 1 seed. That's not changing no matter what. They're locked in at the number 1 seed. You got at the number 2 seed, the Buffalo Bills, who absolutely torched. I almost said Tom Brady and the Patriots, but the Patriots. And you have the Steelers at 12-3 in the number 3 seed. Those are locked. Now, the Steelers and the Bills can flip-flop 2 and 3, but we're not really going to talk about that. Plus, we already know that Mason Rudolph is starting for Pittsburgh, so they're in a lot of ways conceding, it seems like, or at least resting star players. They're happy with the 3 seed, it looks like. Then you have in the hunt, you have the Tennessee Titans at 10-5 at the 4 seed. You have number 5 Miami Dolphins at 10-5. You have the Baltimore Ravens at 6 at 10-5, and you have the Cleveland Browns at 7 at 10-5. Now on the bubble, you have one more 10-5 team in the Indianapolis Colts, and it's just crazy to me that you have 5 teams that are 10-5. One of these teams is not making the playoffs, and then you go to the NFC and you see some of the teams that will be. But all you could do is play the people that are ahead of you, and it looks like it's shaping up for a pretty fun playoff picture in the AFC. I'll jump to the NFC real quick, and then we'll go over some likely scenarios that we think can happen in these playoffs. So we have the Packers at 12-3. They're the number 1 seed. You have the Saints at 11-4 as the number 2 seed, and you also have the Seahawks as the 3 seed at 11-4. All 3 teams can, under certain scenarios, finish as the number 1 seed in the NFC. We won't touch on that too much, but we will touch on the fact that the number 4 seed right now is the Washington Redskins, who are under NFL.com labeled as in
Football
the hunt. Yeah, football team.
Yeah, come on, Nick.
I'm
Yeah,
never going to not
It's
call
week
them the Redskins.
17.
I'm always going to call them the Redskins.
Do another shot.
TruExact Radio does not condone Nick's use of the term Redskins.
Or soon to be the Cleveland Indians. You have Tampa Bay at the number 5 seed, and then you have the Rams at the 6 seed at 9-6, and you have the Bears right now at 8-7 as the 7 seed. On the bubble, you have the number 8 seed, the Arizona Cardinals, and then you also have the Dallas Cowboys at 6-9, and the New York Football Giants at 5.
Hold on, Nick, you cut out there. What teams you cut out? Your Skype cut out.
I said Arizona Cardinals, a bunch of cowgirls, and New York Football Giants. But we'll keep this family friendly for now. So we do know that Jacksonville now has the number 1 seed, and the Jets have the number 2. We'll discuss that at a later date. But let me pull up. What do you guys think right now going into Week 17 as I pull up the likely scenarios where we can go over them?
Do you want me to start with this?
You can
Yeah, go
start.
ahead.
All right. For the AFC, I think the Dolphins are going to be out. I think the Colts are going to win, the Browns are going to win, and the Ravens are going to win. And the Dolphins are going to lose at Buffalo, and they'll be on the outside looking in. And regardless, I think it's a good season for the Dolphins. But, the Browns, everyone has them losing. It's now or never. Like, we talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago when we were talking about can the Browns win the division. Show me something. You've been bullied by the AFC North for, 18 years since Kelly Holcomb was your quarterback, whoever the hell it was. Like, this is the time. The Steelers, even though they have a 2 maybe to play for, they're not going to play hard. And they're not even as good as we thought they were. If you're the Browns, go win this game. Get into the playoffs. Give your fans something for the – I mean, there's people who are 36 now who haven't been able to watch since they were in high school a playoff game. You know what I mean? And I think the Dolphins end up losing. I think even if Tua plays all game, he doesn't impress me. And if Fitzpatrick comes in, it's going to be too little too late. And I think Rivers wins versus Jacksonville. I can't say Jacksonville sweeping the Colts. So that's my AFC side. The NFC – I think the Dallas Cowboys win this division. I know you're a homer. Honestly, yeah, I know but listen, the Cowboys are playing very good on the offense side right now. Giants aren't. And the Giants have not beaten the Cowboys in 6 tries maybe. And I just think Washington's done. Even if Alex Smith's quarterbacks, you got Doug Peterson possibly playing for his job. Jalen Hurts trying to prove he's the quarterback next year. That's in Philly. That's not an easy game, even if Alex Smith plays. And I also think the Rams beat the Cardinals. The Bears are going to lose to the Packers, but the Bears are going to get in because I think if they tie Arizona, the Bears get in. I think. So I think the Cowboys end up playing the Bucs, and even if it's the Cowboys, Giants, or Washington, you can't tell me you don't think one of those teams could beat the statue of Tom Brady. I mean, I think they got a shot if it's a home playoff game for any of those 3 teams. So that's my NFC right there.
Do you think, though, that here's the question I have for you on your projected finishes. You have Buffalo and Pittsburgh both playing for the 2 seed.
Right.
So essentially the winner of that game is going to have the 6 seed in the first round of the playoffs. Now, you already have Pittsburgh almost in a lot of ways conceding the game, it seems like.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's possible for Buffalo to kind of start resting some players themselves and for Miami?
I don't. I think here's why. I think Buffalo really fucking shit the bed last year after getting up big on the Texans. The last thing they want to do is fuck around. There's no fucking around. Like, you go in there, you beat the shit out of the Dolphins, you take care of business. Who cares who you have to play? Eventually you're going to have to run into the best team anyway. Go in there as the Bills, and people are thinking you got a shot versus the Chiefs. Go in there, beat the Ravens if that's who you have to play. Go beat them in Buffalo. You're not going to worry about that. Why lay down and have to go in versus a hot Ravens team? I don't think the Bills are going to lay down. This is the first time they've been division champs in, 25 years? And they're going to just go to this week and say, let's just play around a little bit. I just don't see it. If it was another team, maybe, but not the Bills.
They did well. So it was week 2 the last time they played, but they did beat Miami 31-28 in a close game. Tim, agree, disagree?
So here's the thing, Scott. I literally on both sides, your AFC and NFC, have the exact same teams winning and the exact same outcomes of the games. So I can't argue with anything you said. I'm not trying to get a raise. I promise you, you're paying just fine.
Thanks.
Hear me out. We talked about this a couple weeks ago when when Pittsburgh was on this tailspin. We brought up the fact that, hey, week 17, they're playing the Browns. They're not going to want to show them anything.
Right.
So because of the way seeding could work out. And this is exactly what's happening. They're not going to play Big Ben. They're not going to play their starters for more than they need to. Their receivers need to play because they need to learn how to catch the ball. But outside of that, I don't see them playing any of their starters very far into the game, which, makes Buffalo that's the one game that I'm nervous about. If Buffalo already knows Pittsburgh is not going to play, they're not going to win, but they still could beat Cleveland. The Jets just beat Cleveland. Who says that Cleveland's going to beat a backup quarterback? They basically beat what's a backup team. They lost to a backup team in the Jets. It's a game.
Cleveland's defense though, they didn't have any of their receivers. All the receivers were out of the game due to COVID. They had the running backs and they had Austin Hooper all game long.
They should have
had 15 targets.
They should have put Kareem Hunt as a fucking receiver. I don't know why they weren't running him as a receiver. It would have been this, tell them, hey, this is your package. Remember 5 plays, and then just beat the Jets with those 5 plays. I don't know. That's not here or there. Like I said, the Pittsburgh forfeiting, playing their backups, I saw coming weeks ago. I see Cleveland getting in. I see Buffalo wanting to get rid of Miami. All right, who's the starting quarterback in Miami this week? Did they announce it?
Tua probably, I think. I don't know.
They haven't announced it. Fitzpatrick, Tua,
They benched him twice already. If they're going to start Fitzpatrick, as a Jets fan, I know a lot about Ryan Fitzpatrick in must-win games. I don't know if he's the same Ryan Fitzpatrick. Sure looks like it to me. Looks amazing during the regular season. And then a little bit of pressure, and you got the real Ryan Fitzpatrick who shows up. So I can't picture Miami winning. Buffalo, knock them out. You don't want to face them again. That defense is good. Get rid of them while you can.
Right.
Sir, what do you got? You agree or disagree?
There's a couple scenarios. In the NFC, for some reason, I think Arizona beats the Rams because they don't have Jared Goff. Jared Goff broke his thumb, and he says he could recover, play next week. How are you going to play in a 1 week notice with a broken thumb? But whatever. So without him, I see them catching an L. I didn't really look at the scenario, but that's one game that I did peek at. I was like, oh, and the Browns, they have to go beat the Steelers, man. Come on. You let one slip to the Jets. I know you had no receivers, but this, you got to come out there and beat the Steelers and get in there because, Baker, you got to show your big time,
So that Rams Arizona game is interesting because Goff's hurt and he's out, but Kyler Murray might not be playing either.
He's all right. He was just a little sad, man, of the results. He ain't hurt.
Is Jared Goff really that good though? I've said it before.
Wait, he's a what? He's better than their backup. All right.
I don't know, soft bitch.
Listen, if the Rams can establish the run, right? They've got 3 running backs.
Yeah, Akers is hurt. Henderson is banged up. It might be the Malcolm Brown show. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Granted, they still got receivers in Cup and Woods, but
yeah.
Sir, what about the NFC East?
That's what I was just about to ask. No, that's okay.
You're hosting this week.
I just want to hear it, sir. Come on, say it, sir.
Who's representing the NFC East, sir?
The team that's going to lose to Tampa Bay in the first round.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's such a cop-out.
Tampa's beating whoever comes out of the division. Tampa's beating them in the first round.
Hear me out. If Alex Smith plays the football team, Nick.
All right. Yeah, if he plays, I give him the edge. But if he doesn't play, then I think Philly wins that game if Alex Smith doesn't play.
So I'll say this. Thank you, Latch. after his convincing battle cry for why Cleveland will win the division, I parlayed Cleveland and the Eagles with my free $25 that I won on the no-brainer bet for basketball. It was $25 to win a couple hundred, and obviously both teams lost.
See you later.
Not the best. I'll play devil's advocate because I don't want to spoil too much in terms of like NFC East, because obviously it comes down to one game, the primetime game, and Tim and I are tied in primetime picks. So I'll play devil's advocate on one thing. I think the only other team outside of Miami, I would agree, I think Miami's out. But, you know, Tennessee had to beat Houston in overtime in a game back in October where Tannehill threw for 366 yards. Derrick Henry ran for over 200 yards, and they still almost lost that game. If you remember, that was the game where Derrick Henry walked off the rushing touchdown in overtime against Deshaun Watson. And no, they're not playing for anything, but it scares me a little bit that it's a divisional game and a hungry Houston team that seems to be playing well on offense, even without Will Fuller. Now, it looked like Deshaun Watson might have got hurt towards the end of that game, so I don't know what his availability is, truth be told, but they would be the only other team that I think that's capable of losing that game. So I would agree on the AFC side.
Yeah,
I'll say the one thing though, I think the scariest team that you guys mentioned is Baltimore. If they get in, they cause a lot of problems in this playoffs.
yeah.
They could.
They can. It's just, listen, I'm so skeptical, and I'm so old school with it, but I'll be the first to admit when I'm wrong, but like, it's just, you get up on 10, like if Baltimore gets in and the Chiefs get up 21-0, do you really trust Lamar Jackson? He threw the ball for the first time with 4 minutes left in the half the other week. And it's like, I know their system works. I get it. Harbaugh's a great coach. But it's like, as someone who, like, watched a guy like Romo and fucking Romo his whole life just get annihilated and see a guy who can't throw the damn ball make it this far, it's frustrating. Like, so I like Lamar Jackson as a person. I think he's an awesome dude. I'll root for the kid. It's the analysts that bother me so much because we see this shit year after year. And it's like, do you really trust them to be able to come back down 17-0?
See, I've said it before. I don't trust Lamar coming from behind. I've said that.
Right.
He's a great front runner. But I'm saying, like, Lamar has something to prove. He looked like trash last postseason.
Yeah.
Like, if he gets in, he's got to redeem himself because, like, they were, the 2 seed last year or something like that, and he just laid an absolute egg.
And
they laid an absolute egg in the postseason, an absolute dud.
And he's looked like fucking trash against basically any good team this season. So he's beating up on the teams that he should beat up on. Show me you could do it against somebody that's good.
Nick, can I ask you a question really quick?
Yeah, before you do, I just wanted to, you mentioned Tony Romo, so I just wanted to quote the great Merrill Reese on the TruExact radio show a few months ago when we had him on, mentioning Tony Romo, his response, but how many playoff wins does he have?
Yeah, and he got it wrong. Let's just say that he got it wrong. He didn't know. I love Merrill. Thanks for coming on, but you got it wrong. And I respect you. One of the best voices of radio, but listen, I'll defend Romo to the day I die. That's
to be fair, he might have gotten 2 wrong. Then I'll let you ask your question because he disagreed with me in terms of Doug Peterson getting fired, and I think somebody's got to fall on the sword for the Eagles.
Yeah.
But I'll talk a little bit about that when I make my primetime pick. What's your question?
Okay, and you can't cop out here, okay? And you guys hold him accountable if he does. The Cowboys win. Are you rooting for Cowboys or Giants? Obviously, are you rooting for the Eagles to lose?
I don't think I'm rooting for the Eagles to lose regardless because I'm not a fan of either of those teams. I would say for monetary sake, I have futures on the Giants for both the conference championship and Super Bowl championship. And if the Giants make the playoffs, the entire purpose of doing that bet was to hedge the shit out of it and walk away with money. So for monetary purposes, I unfortunately would have to root for I would have to root for the Eagles if the Giants win. If the Cowboys win and I am no longer guaranteed any money, I probably just won't watch the game. To be completely honest.
Fair
I think
enough.
I have work. I think I have work early the next day, so maybe I'd watch it up until halftime and then call it a day.
Fair enough.
Work.
Good question. So, in terms of the NFC, I'm going to not answer the NFC because it's dependent on the primetime game. So I don't want to pick that right now.
That's a hell of a tease, Nick.
Wait, hold up.
Hell of a
You had
tease.
everybody their answer, and then you don't answer the question?
That's a great tease.
He doesn't want to give me the upper hand, guys. He doesn't want to give me the upper hand. He wants me to sweat it out.
That's a host
That's
who's
it.
been doing it for months right there.
But now that I know, literally months, but now that I know that Tim thinks Dallas is going to the playoffs, I think there's some foreshadowing ahead. But we'll see. We'll figure it out then. But we're going to do our parlay picks right now because we're going to use the parlay picks as a tiebreaker. If you've been following along since week one, you know we've been tracking our primetime picks, and I was so motivated after being trolled by Latch and Scott over picking Minnesota +7 or 8. I forget what it was. It could have been 15 against the Saints that I had to go 5-1 and win my next. Is it 4-1 or 5-1?
5-1. You crushed,
5-1.
man.
There you go. So I had to hit my next 5 in a row to tie up with Tim in the primetime pick. So we're going to use the parlay picks as the tiebreaker. I'll go first for my parlay pick since Tim already telegraphed who he's taking in the primetime picks. So first and foremost, I'm taking the Tampa Bay Bucks laying 6.5 against Atlanta. Here's the deal. If Tampa Bay wins the game, Tampa Bay plays whoever wins the NFC East. And if you're the Tampa Bay Bucks, to Scott's point before, even though I think I might argue, I think certain teams could put up a fight against Tampa Bay. If you're Tampa Bay, don't you want to play the team that's coming out of the NFC East? Like, don't you want to play the sub-500 team? So give me Tampa Bay. But before we do that, Tim is showing that we have to do a shot. My wife got me this Drinko board, so I'm going to defer to the Drinko board on what shot I'm going to take, but we have some Canadian whiskey and gold and silver tequila.
I don't see Hennessy on that board, sir.
You don't. Tell me where I should drop it.
In the middle.
Where's the Hennessy on that board?
There's no Hennessy.
Right there.
For people listening, it's a Plinko board like Price is Right, and he's dropping in a chip, but it's called Drinko, and the chip drops, and what does he got?
I have Cuervo silver.
Rip. Sorry, for those of you who are not watching, it's warm Cuervo silver, which cannot be good.
It's very much warm, but it's fine.
It's not fine.
Cheers to Scott having to work tomorrow.
Cheers.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They don't know what day this is taped. Don't worry about it. That was delicious. Woo! Compliments, you taste so good.
So we got Tampa Bay laying 6.5. My other leg of my parlay is the Giants +3. Here's the deal. I think that Dallas's game plan against Philadelphia was to target the cornerbacks, and they absolutely abused the cornerbacks on their way to a ton of big plays. The Eagles' defense, truth be told, was completely different after Fletcher Cox left the game with a stinger. I think Scott would agree.
Yeah.
I just think the Giants in this spot, Daniel Jones is another week healthier. They have a better defense. They have a great cornerback in Bradbury. I just think they're going to keep it close. Truth be told, it could be money talking. It could be whatever the case. But I think the Giants are going to win the game outright. I just have a feeling. Could be wrong, but give me the Giants +3 against Dallas. I think everybody's money is going to be on Dallas after the win they had against the Eagles. And then lastly, I'm going to take the Chargers. Is it laying 3.5? I put laying
minus
3.5.
-3.5, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am taking the Chargers -3.5. Here's the deal on that: Kansas City has nothing to play for, and the Chargers, you have Justin Herbert, who I think we all would agree is the rookie of the year for sure after setting the touchdown record for rookies in a single season. With 28, at least that was the record. I don't know how many he has now. But Justin Herbert's played really well, and they have something to play for. And if you remember the last time they played, that was the game, I believe, in week 2 where the Chargers were winning for most of the game. And honestly, if they went for it on 4th and 1 in overtime, they probably would have won the game. I just think that the Chargers are sticky. And as I've kind of mentioned before in advocating points, I'm going to take the Chargers laying 3.5 against Kansas City in this spot here. I just think that they're going to beat them. Kansas City has nothing to play for. So those are my picks in my 3-team parlay. There's a lot of games that I like, honestly, but these are the 3 I like the most. So. Sir, we'll jump to you. What do you got for your 3-team parlay?
Week 17 is always funny, weird to bet on it because like teams like last minute switch outs or like they play a half and they realize they're up a lot and take somebody out or it's too close. So, bet carefully this week. Bet carefully. I'm going to start with Green Bay -5. Aaron Rodgers is not losing to the Bears. Give me over 44.5 Baltimore Cincinnati, and give me the over 43.5 Philly Washington. Every game since Jalen Hurts has played, the game has gone over the total.
All right. Tim, what do you got?
Sir. Short, sweet, and to the point. Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to take a minute of your time. The Cowboys in a must-win game. You had it at 3. When I looked, it was 2.5. Obviously, it's not going in my favor right now. So if it's 3, I'll put it in at 3 right now. The Cowboys have to win this game. There's no reason for them to mess around at all. They have to beat the Giants. So I'm going to go with the team that I know they both have to win, but the Cowboys have been playing very much improved football, especially on the defensive side. If the defense can get after Daniel Jones like they've gotten after the quarterbacks the past 3 weeks, I don't know that the Giants can overcome that. So that's why I went Cowboys -3. As sir, you said Green Bay was -5?
-5. Yep.
Well, good. That's working in my favor because I have them -5.5, and I'll still take a -5.5. Home field advantage. The number 1 seed, a bye in the first round, they cannot lose to the Bears. Right. I don't see them losing to the Bears. It's Mitch Money Mitch, sir. It is what it is.
We're finishing how we started with #Money Mitch.
it's not happening. It's not happening. And my final pick is I'm going to take the Saints -6.5, just in case Green Bay loses. I think the Saints at -6.5 is a team that needs to win, just in case Green Bay makes a mistake. Yeah,
I did look at that thing. They both play at the same time, so
yeah, that would.
They're both 4:00 games.
They're both going to be playing for the Dubs, and let's just hope they both win because that way my parlay hits, and that way I beat Nick in a tiebreaker.
I also I love Green Bay as well. There's no way Green Bay's not destroying Chicago and Money Mitch. And the last time Aaron Rodgers faced Chicago, he's threw for 4 touchdowns. Not a ton of yardage, but he threw for 4 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers is the MVP of the league. I don't know if anybody disagrees. They're wrong. I know it's basically an opinion question, but the MVP of the league is Aaron Rodgers, which is just fascinating to me. And Scott, we'll get to your picks in a second, but you have a team that drafted a quarterback in the first round of the draft of the team that has the MVP on their team, who happens to be a quarterback. So I don't know.
When Brett Favre was a quarterback, they drafted Aaron Rodgers. So
God forbid they give him any weapons whatsoever on offense to help him.
Devontae Adams is pretty good.
Devontae Adams is probably.
You could thank the Eagles. You could thank the Eagles for that, and Jordan Matthews.
Hey, Jordan Matthews was all right. He had his moments.
Vanderbilt, right?
I think so. Yeah. I have a Jordan Matthews jersey somewhere upstairs in my closet. I know. Scott, what do you?
Wait. Jordan Matthews won me some fantasy leagues. All right, I'm saying.
Yeah,
he was my preferred. Listen, in Madden, he was by far my preferred go-to receiver.
Two things, Nick. One, the worst jersey I ever owned was a Bobby Carpenter Cowboy jersey, and I actually had a Billy Cundiff Cowboy jersey. That's a true story.
I'll give you something. Do your picks, but I got something on that.
Yeah, and also Jordan Love, I was saying last November, just touch on him. He's going to be the best quarterback out of that entire draft. I guarantee it. I will die on that hill right now. I love a kid who takes a small school and makes them 9-3. And then he leaves and the small school sucks. I want that guy. That's just me personally. And I think that dude's going to be a stud. I could see it being a straight up Favre, Rodgers to Love. And it's just pissing me off that you could go from 3 straight quarterbacks. So I think that kid in 3 or 4 years could be fucking incredible. I love that pick. I thought that the freaking Pats should have taken him personally. But what do I know? I'm not Bill Belichick. Now, I want to read you, before you get to my picks, I want to read you a Facebook memory I had in December 28th, 2014, right? The fact Andy Dalton is a constant playoff QB is a joke. What an undeserving fuck. That was me 6 years ago.
Yeah,
and now,
2014, right?
Right. And now I am rooting for this dude. So to touch on this, I am taking Dallas. I had it at -2.5. I gotta stay true to my Cowboys Nation out there for any of you there, and I also have to stay true to annoy you Cowboys haters because that's just what I do. So I'm gonna take the Cowboys -3 or 2.5. I also like the Jets +3.5.
I like that game too.
I think
did look at that one.
I think the Pats give a shit. It's Gase is gone, but he's coaching one last game. So why not give him the old arm and hammer up the ass and win one final game to fuck him even more? And also, I'm a man of hunches, as Latch said last week. I'm a man of a hunch. And, sir, I like your Niners at +5.5 at home versus the Seahawks. And just not to win, but, just to give them a tough fucking time and to keep it within a field goal. I don't know why. It's just one of those games. I just see the Niners keeping it close, so that's my 3-team parlay. Your comments on Jordan Love, by the way, I'd love to hear your responses to that.
Well, I mean, that's a bold prediction.
Very bold.
Joe Burrow and Herbert and even Jalen Hurts and the way he's played and he's done
Do
it.
a Tebow.
Fuck that guy. Fuck him.
To a Tebow. Come on.
Fucking stupid. Hate that guy.
I mean, that's a bold prediction right there.
Very bold.
We'll see. We'll see. My worst jersey is LJ Smith. I had an LJ
Rutgers,
Smith
baby. Rutgers.
jersey. Yeah. I got it for $5 at a local sporting goods store.
I bought my brother.
$5 too much.
I brought my brother for Christmas an LJ Smith signed mini helmet. Probably 17 years ago, and he opened the case first. Because I bought him a case and a helmet, but I wrapped them separate, and he thought I just got him the case for Christmas. And he's like, thanks, I'll be sure to use it. And I go, no, you got to open the helmet. So that helmet got sold at a yard sale for $3.
Somebody got ripped off.
It's probably Nick. Nick bought it.
No, I don't think so. I would not buy that.
Yes, you would. Don't lie.
This will match my jersey.
Yeah.
Matches head.
Truth be told, I bought it foreshadowing because I bought it the year that Giant Steve Smith signed with the Eagles, and I was hoping he would have the same number as LJ Smith, and I can get a $5 jersey that essentially would be the exact same thing. If you really want to know the truth, that's why I did that. So real quick funny story, a buddy of mine and then we'll get off of LJ Smith, who would have known he would have 3 minutes of airtime in 2020, but a buddy of mine went golfing with him one time for a Rutgers thing, and it was a fundraiser or whatever, and he called him by his real name, John Smith, and he looked up from his phone and he was like, that's not my name. LJ's my name. He was just being a dick about it, but
Right.
who cares about LJ Smith? But
It wasn't that bad.
Shout out to LJ Smith.
Yeah, he wasn't that bad.
Donovan McNabb would always throw to tight ends in the
Right.
red zone. So he had some tight end. He had some red zone targets for sure from Donovan.
Dan Lewis.
Yep. So we'll get into DFS. Last week, Scott, you didn't do DFS. Are you doing it this week, or are you opting out?
Yeah, okay, I'll join. Jeez, am I copping out? Fuck. Yeah, I did it this week. Yeah, I did it.
Perfect.
Are you
Let's
going
start-
to enter your lineup in?
Who, me?
Yes.
Enter my lineup? I don't have a...
We'll get you hooked up.
Okay,
We'll
thank
make it
you.
happen.
I don't
Tim,
have an account.
Tim did not. Tim did enter his lineup. He had thought he didn't.
Yeah, I thought I didn't. I did. I should.
Who won?
Some asshole.
That would be you. But I would like to mention that for 2 weeks in a row, I've beaten Latch, who it's nice to talk shit about when he can't talk back because he's not on the show. But I know that when Latch comes back for either next week or the conference championships, I'm sure he's going to have something to say about that. But I did beat you 2 times in a row, Latch, so suck it. Why don't we go with you first, Scott? Let's hear your DFS.
All right, like Sir said, and you all mentioned, week 17 is so hard. That's why a lot of fantasy has their championships week 16. So these are kind of shots in the dark. So for quarterback, I'm going with Andy Dalton at 5,600. Taking a shot there. I feel that's pretty cheap. Going with the red rifle. He could change my mind on Gingers. I haven't think there's been a successful one since Ron Howard in this country. So let's give it a shot, Andy. All right, then we got I'm riding with Sirs, dude. Jonathan Taylor again, man. I mean, like, I am just riding with him 7,400. Going with Kareem Hunt with the Browns, 5,900. Wide receivers, I think I got a pretty decent lineup. I know they have a tough defense, the Giants, with the number 1 corner. I'm going to get Amari Cooper at 5,800, hoping Dalton that's his guy he goes to. Diggs at 8,100. You guys think the Bills might not play him, but I think they're just going to keep on rolling, and Diggs is going to keep going. A.J. Brown, 7,200. And here's some weird stuff here. Tight end, Chris Herndon for 2,800 I'm going with. I don't know why he scored such a last.
A-E-T-S. That's why you're going with him.
As a guy that drafted him in every season-long league I'm in, I can't talk you out of that enough.
Okay. All right, Flex, here's one for you, and I think you might agree. He had a big game last week, and I could see them saving Aaron Jones for the playoffs. I'm going A.J. Dillon at 4,800 for a flex. I mean, do you see running backs like this? They have one good week. Let's just keep them rolling. You see that a lot. And for defense, I'm going with the Jets, 2,300. That is like the cheapest buy. Who knows what's going on with the Pats? Belichick is not going to win this game purposely, as we've stated before. Even if he wins, still at 10-7. So that's my lineup under 50,000. Feel free.
God, when do I get my raise?
Blame me.
When do I get my raise? When does it come in? It's coming right now. You're talking about the Jets like
I
that?
like how you're taking notes on the DFS tips. I like it, sir.
I am, man. I gotta. If I'm gonna be a guest, I gotta fucking put some fortitude into this. I hate it how I use that word.
Tim, we'll go to you on your DFS lineup.
It's testicular fortitude, and that's a Nick term for his for his wrestling show. Okay. Anyway, so week 17, very, very difficult. But I went with play the people who have things to play for. Where they're playing a whole game, or that they're trying to showcase somebody, or it's things to that nature. So that my QB right off the bat, Phillip Rivers, 6K versus Jacksonville, a must-win game. Jacksonville stinks. I paired him with T.Y. Hilton, double points. I paired both of them with Jonathan Taylor. We had some of the same picks. My running back, I went with Sony Michel, 4,600 against the Jets. The Jets still do stink, and Sony Michel has been getting the lion's share of the carries with a team that's not going to do much, but play people that they want to showcase. And he's one of the people that I think they're going to try to deal at some point because Harris from them has been pretty good at the running back spot. So I think they're set up for next season. Showcase Sony, trade his ass, get rid of him. Wide receiver. After a couple complaints and crying, Mr. Hollywood Brown at 5,900 versus Cincy. They've been getting a touchdown a week. I'm gonna say he's gonna do better than a touchdown this week. He's gonna go for 2. My other wide receiver, Scott, might have went with the stupid fucking number 1 receiver. He's gonna be covered by Bradbury. I'll go the number 2 receiver, CeeDee Lamb, 5,200 against the Giants. My tight end, Mr. Tonyan, 5K versus Chicago. Aaron Rodgers is going to be throwing. That's his preferred tight end. He's been a stud all season. My flex, David Montgomery, 7,700 against Green Bay, has been on. Besides Jonathan Taylor and
Team.
no, Derrick Henry. Besides those two, he's been absolutely fucking unbelievable for the past couple of weeks. And my defense, Scott, Jets, Jets. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be for New England. I assume they're not going to play Cam Newton again. And I don't know if they keep benching him, so give me Stedham, whatever. The Jets defense might do, for $2,300.
Yeah.
Might surprise some people.
So Bill Belichick on Cam Newton starting in Week 17, quote, I suppose. So it does look like Cam Newton is
I guess.
going to start.
Do you expect any other different answer from Belichick?
Might even be better for the Jets defense if Cam Newton plays. Who the fuck knows? He's been dog shit.
You could ask Belichick what time is it. He'd be like, I suppose it's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I don't know.
Look at the clock.
You know,
Can you imagine
he won't give you a straight answer.
A lot of Patriots fans are like bitching about him. They want to see Stidham. They don't want to see Cam Newton. He keeps playing Cam Newton. They're now ragging on him over his draft picks, saying he hasn't had a lot of great draft picks. Can you imagine being a Patriots fan? How entitled are you?
Yeah.
Just one season. One L. One L in your whole fucking last 2 decades, and you're like,
Bro,
fuck, we're done with them.
guys, it happens with every fan base. I'm a Penguin fan. We won back-to-back Stanley Cups in 2016, 2017. Got knocked out in the second round in 2018. There were people on message boards asking for Mike Sullivan to be fired. It's like, just calm down. Like, you just
No,
want
this is a sports show. Why are you talking about the
I'm like Boomer on WFAN. Yeah, like, nobody cares about hockey.
Nobody cares about hockey, Boomer.
I care about hockey. I agree with you. They're
Thank you, Tim.
crazy.
Sir, what do you got for your DFS lineup? And I'll hit mine.
All right. I got to see similar pieces. But at quarterback, I'm going to go Kirk Cousins at 6,300 against Detroit. Detroit's defense is bad. Like, Brady lit them up. Like, they haven't been able to stop nobody. So, Kirk Cousins, throw to some people. You know what I'm saying? Preferably Mr. Jordan Jefferson, who I also have at 7,600. He's been averaging 18 DK points on the season. He's had a nice little rookie year. Other receivers are Sterling Shepard at 5,200. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I would have one, but I don't know what my cup is. Sterling Shepard.
Santa Claus came late.
Sterling Shepard, 5,200. He's been getting a ton of targets. And to pair him, wide receiver 3, my man, Richie James at 3,100. Listen, no Debo, no Ayuk. The last time that happened, Richie James had 9 receptions, 184 yards and a touch. If he gets anywhere close to that, it's going to pay off his $3,100 salary. At running back, I went Derrick Henry. He let me down last week. I thought he was going to go off, but this week, bounce back against Houston. Just feed him the ball. That's all you got to do. Running back number 2, as you guys mentioned, I'm gonna go with Mr. Jonathan Taylor. Been riding this dude, no homer, but he's been making me a lot of money in fantasy. So 7,400, Jacksonville, they ain't stopping nobody either. A tight end, Noah Fant, 4,400 against Vegas. They got to throw to somebody in Denver, and he's been getting his fair share of looks. At flex, I mentioned it before. He'll be Malcolm Brown, 4,300 against the Cardinals. No Jared Goff. They're gonna have to give this dude about 40 touches, like 40 carries, because if they want to try to beat Arizona, which I don't think they will. And a defense, your boy, I got you. The Jets, Jets.
That's wild.
You know what I'm saying? 2,300. He's like, did you all see the Patriots offense play? I was like, the Jets is going to give it to him. That's my lineup.
You almost said Jet's going to give it to him.
Jets going to give it to him.
That's the closest we'll get to Sir rapping on this show.
There you go. You're done.
Just heard it.
Bars.
Somebody put that in the timestamp, so our fans can get their
there it is.
beats in.
So I am the only one who isn't a homer. I have no Philadelphia Eagles on my team, whereas you
Sir,
guys all
because the
have
night game doesn't count as the slate, sir.
That's true, but I would not pick any Eagles if I could. Although
No,
Deshaun Jackson,
actually, I probably would have went Jalen Hurts because I do like the dual threat option at quarterback, but he's not part of the slate, so.
yeah. Well, I'm not picking any Eagles anyway, even if I could. So I'm going. To your guys' point, and to Tim's point, it's not so much playing players on teams who have something to play for. You can also play players on teams that have nothing to play for. What you don't want to do is play players on playoff teams that have nothing to play for, if that makes any sense. So, like, no Kansas City Chiefs, none of that. But, a game like Sir picked between Minnesota and Detroit, I think, could be a high-scoring game. So, anyway, my lineup starts with quarterback Tom Brady against Atlanta at 7,200. 2 weeks ago, he threw for 390 yards and 2 touchdowns against the same team. They do not want to play anybody but a team that's in the NFC East. So I think Tom Brady's going to be all over them. He's riding a hot start against Detroit, so give me Brady. For running back, I'm going to take J.K. Dobbins at Cincinnati at 6,700. And here's my thought process. First, he's got a touchdown in 4 straight games. And the other thing is I think they're just going to want to get in and get out as fast as humanly possible in that game without getting a lot of people hurt against Cincinnati. They got their spot locked up, for the most part. I think that they're going to beat Cincinnati handedly. Yet another reason why I think J.K. Dobbins has some value here. But give me J.K. Dobbins at 6,700. I'm going Austin Eckler against Kansas City at 7,500. Since coming back, he's played really, really well, including a 9-catch game a few weeks ago. I think that he missed so much time during the regular season that he's going to want to finish the season on a strong note. The last time he faced Kansas City, he had 130 total yards and 4 catches. And Kansas City's locked into the 1 seed. They have nothing to play for. So I could see Austin Eckler going off for a big game here. Wide receivers, I went pretty heavy in money on my running backs and my quarterbacks. So I'm throwing darts with my wide receivers. And I'm going to start with Antonio Brown against Atlanta. First and foremost, 2 weeks ago, I mentioned Tom Brady threw for 2 touchdowns and 390 yards. One of those touchdowns was to Antonio Brown on 5 catches for 93 yards. He also has a touchdown in 2 straight games. Seems like he's starting to figure it out a little bit. He's still the third option at wide receiver over Evans and over Godwin.
Gronk?
Oh, yeah. Gronk might as well be the number 1 there.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Plus, they still got Lenny at running back, and they got some stuff going on. But Antonio Brown, for whatever reason, Tom Brady fucking loves targeting this guy, like, all the time. Doesn't matter who the number 1 is. Doesn't matter who the number 2 is. Doesn't even matter who the number 3 is. He fucking throws to Antonio Brown all the time.
Even Scotty Miller gets some love, but
He does. I mean, Brady hasn't had a bad year, really. He's
Probably because Antonio Brown's still really fucking good. He's just a fucking nutcase.
He is. Wide receiver at 5,200 for the same points Tim's already outlined. Give me CeeDee Lamb against the Giants. The last time he faced the Giants, 8 for 124. Bradbury will be on Cooper, unfortunately. So I don't know, Scott, about that pick. But
that's his name, Cooper.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb is, I think, a target. Plus, you saw him torch the Eagles for a touchdown on just complete blown. Well, he slipped, but complete blown coverage. Absolutely torched the Eagles for a touchdown. And I'm going to take Jarvis Landry against Pittsburgh. It looks like as long as everybody has no COVID issues, he'll return to practice on Thursday. They need him to get into rhythm if they're going to make a playoff run. They absolutely need him. He's 7 for 61 in a touchdown the last time he played. He didn't play well against Pittsburgh the last time they played, but that was a game where their defense, Pittsburgh's defense, absolutely destroyed Baker Mayfield. So I'm going Landry. I had to go value wide receivers. Tight end for the same reason Sir outlined. I'm going Noah Fant against the Vegas Raiders at 4,500. He's had 6 to 8 catches the last 2 weeks. Now that he's healthy, he's back to how he was the first couple weeks of the year, where he's getting lots of catches for a lot of yards. He also has a touchdown over the last 2 weeks. So I'm going Noah Fant at 4,500. For flex, I'm going Ogunbowale, the running back who I believe is playing over James Robinson as long as James Robinson's leg is still swollen. Obviously, if he comes in, this pick goes out, and I probably alter my lineup just a little bit. But so he's a guy that played for Tampa Bay last year and actually caught some passes for Tampa Bay. He's a pass-catching running back who last week got 5 targets and 71 total yards. So I could see him having a good game if he plays one more time, especially if they're losing like everybody thinks they're going to do. Then they're going to be checking down to the running back, and they're going to be thrown to the running back. And then at defense, give me the Cleveland Browns, not the Jets, Jets. And I'll give you 2 words as to why. Mason Rudolph. I just think that he's going to have, or they're going to have a good game against Mason Rudolph. That's my DFS.
Revenge game for Mason Rudolph. That helmet, though. He's going to with the helmet. No touches.
Hear me out. I have one scenario to throw a wrench into our AFC Miami losing and not making the playoffs. Is there any chance that Jacksonville beats the Colts?
Twice in a year?
Listen.
No.
Listen. Who's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft?
Trevor Lawrence.
Who is the quarterback at Jacksonville? It's Minshew Mania. Is he back? Is he playing?
I don't think so.
Well, then fuck it. They're losing.
The only argument I'll make with you, Tim, is that we've seen, what was it the one year the Chargers, all they had to do was beat the Chiefs with a 3rd-string quarterback, and Phillip Rivers lost 9-7. So, there are times Rivers, who I think is better than Eli Manning in that draft, that's just me, but, there are times Phillip Rivers does falter, and it could be the team around him, but listen, Frank Reich's too good of a coach for them to lose this game. I'd be more shocked if the Colts lost this game than, I don't have a second thing to compare it to, but I'd just be very shocked. That's all.
Weird things happen in Week 17.
Yeah, no, I know.
Sure. You heard it here first. Jacksonville money line.
Well,
I wouldn't advise that, but
it comes down to the main event.
Oh, boy.
The primetime picks. I'm guessing Tim and I will go second to last and last, saving the 2. But Scott will drop these standings now on the screen. And as you can see, Tim and I are in a tie. And if you remember, I was in last place.
Right.
Dead fucking last for most
As you
of the
should be.
And then I did a shot, which I invented, known as the 3 Wise Men. It was a little bit of Hennessy, it was a little bit of Rumplemintz, and it was a lot of tequila. It tasted awful. My wife laughed at me, but I did it, and since then, I have been on fire in my primetime picks. So it is now a tie for first place between myself and Big Time Tim, who is having a historic collapse. But first, we're going to talk about the teams that have nothing to play for in Week 17, and we'll start with Scott. Scott, what do you think of the Eagles and the Washington Redskins? And we have Washington at Philly.
Football team.
It's
getting
the
2
damn
points.
Football team, Nick.
the Washington football team.
All right,
If Redskins win, I'll give you $1, Nick. I promise you I'll give you.
All right. Here's what we got. So, listen, the guest part of this show has no chance to catch up to you guys. I blame it on Miguel Week 1 and his horrible picks. We could just go back to that, and all the guests can blame Miguel for his Danny Dimes is gonna do well. Is he? You fucking lost. Of course, his Homer giant self had to go with fucking Danny Dimes Week 1, and I'm pretty sure he went 0-4, and that's the reason, every guest watching, Miguel's the reason we're behind right now. So don't blame me. I went 3-3. Latch and I have held our own. Moravik has held his own. I'm missing some names. The guy who likes NASCAR, Brett Inferno. There you go. Yeah. He held his own. I am going with the Eagles to cover here. You're right. You're a -1.5, was it, or 2.5? I'm sorry.
+2.
The Eagles are a +2.
It's getting bad.
That's wild to me. Even if Alex Smith plays, I don't care. I don't think he's that good. Like, I don't think that makes that much of a difference. I think the Eagles have a lot to play for as a 4-10-1 team. As far as a coach, a quarterback wants to prove that you need to get rid of this fucking Carson Wentz guy, and I think they win outright. I think they do. I think they win. If Alex Smith doesn't play, it's 27-10. If he does play, give me 24-17. I think the Eagles win, man. That's it.
Sir, how much of that is because you want the Cowboys to have a chance?
That's not true. Even if the Giants win, I will stick with that. I don't
But
see them
if the
winning.
football team wins, you have no chance.
Correct. Yeah, and I'm a pretty realistic fan. Like, if this was with fans in the stands, Kirk Cousins a few years ago in Washington, I'd pick Washington. If it was Carson Wentz, I might pick Washington. I think Jalen Hurts, though, after last week, like, they almost have an incentive to win this freaking game. They do. That's just me.
Sir, what do you got?
I'm gonna go Washington, kill all the drama. That deep, you know what I'm saying? Washington wins. Cowboy fans are sad. Giant fans are sad. Washington wins. They win the division, which is what I said a couple weeks ago that they would win the division. But sir is correct. Thank you.
All right, Tim, heads or tails?
Rock, paper, scissors. Do it right now.
Be yourselves. Be genuine,
game.
man. Do it.
Now, hold on. Are we doing rock, paper, scissors, go? Or are we doing rock,
First of all,
paper,
ain't nobody
scissors?
ever said rock, paper, scissors, go. It's rock, paper, scissors, shoot. We go on, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Go ahead, Nick. It's you.
All right, so
You're
we're going
number
rock,
one.
paper, scissors, shoot.
Yes.
All right, ready?
Rock,
paper, scissors.
Scissor, you. You go. You go.
Nick, go.
You go.
All right.
Hey, Tim's held the lead. He is only right. You guys be authentic about this. If it comes to tiebreaker,
Yo,
do it.
Nick,
Don't,
take your boys. Come on.
Be genuine about it. Don't
Down
make
with
it
the
a
sword,
drama.
kid. Come on.
So here's the deal.
Oh, boy.
Here we go.
We don't know who the quarterback is for the Washington football team.
Hey, you got one.
1 for
The
1.
Washington football team. We don't know who the quarterback is for the Washington football team. It could be Alex Smith. It could be Taylor Heineke, I believe is his name.
God bless you.
Who didn't
put some
play
respect-
terrible, came in relief for Dwayne Haskins to convert 12 of 19 for 137 and a touchdown. Of course, in garbage time. But he came in relief over Dwayne Haskins, who's since been released and cleared through waivers.
See you later.
For the Washington football team. I looked at an Eagles team last week that played well up until 14-3, and then Fletcher Cox got hurt. And when Fletcher Cox got hurt, it changed everything on their defense. They couldn't rush the quarterback. They couldn't get to the quarterback. Andy Dalton made the cornerbacks of the Eagles look like they were back to being fucking Braylon, Byron Maxwell, and fucking Asamoah. So we don't know if Terry McLaurin is going to play, and I think that's a big piece to it too. In the end, I think that Philly is going to lose the game. I think that Washington is going to win the game. And I think that Washington's going to win the game because I think that whoever plays at quarterback is going to be able to throw on the Eagles' defense. Now, mind you, the Eagles' defense is terrible against tight ends. So even if they don't have Terry McLaurin, I see a big game for Logan Thomas, who had a touchdown in Week 1 against Philadelphia.
Logan
The
Thomas,
same
my man.
defense. That's it, my man. The problem with the Eagles' front offensive line is that they've been hurt all year. And no defensive line is – well, I shouldn't say no defensive line, but the Washington Redskins' defensive line is terrifying.
Football team.
I'm going to keep calling them the Redskins or the football team. I just think that their front seven overall is just terrifying. And they abused the Eagles the last time they played, and that Eagles' offensive line was at least relatively healthy. Now that they're not healthy, I just don't see any scenario where the Eagles win this game. Now, Jalen Hurts has played well in 2 games, and I've heard a lot of things saying that he's coming back down to earth. I mean, if coming back down to earth is 400 all-purpose yards, then I hope that he comes back to earth every single week. Because I put the blame on the Eagles' loss to Dallas on the coaching and on that terrible fumble call late in the game more than anything. I don't put it on Jalen Hurts because if you think about it, he's not forcing that throw into an interception. If they had kicked the field goal and not went for it on 4th and 15, the drive before that, or the countless things where Doug Peterson just plays NFL football like it's YOLO style, or like I play on Madden, which I referenced multiple times before. He's won a Super Bowl being a gambling man. But if either one of those plays that he gambled with in the Super Bowl don't work, they don't win the Super Bowl. So sometimes his gambling antics work, and sometimes his gambling antics don't work. And this season, his gambling antics have not worked. He's not coached well. I blame him and his in-game decision-making on why the Eagles' record is what it is. I blame Howie Roseman for why the team is what it is, and somebody needs to fall on the sword for how terrible the Eagles have played this year. And I hope it's Howie Roseman over Doug Peterson, but to me, they both have to go because they both suck. And I don't care that they won a Super Bowl a few years ago. I know, Scott, you said stop bitching. You won a Super Bowl just a few years ago.
No.
Philadelphia is like New York in the sense that last year doesn't matter. It's always going to be what have you done for me lately. The Jacksonville Jaguars win a Super Bowl next year. Yeah, they get stuck for the next 20 because who cares? It's fucking Jacksonville. But in Philadelphia or in New York City, you win every year. It's what have you done for me lately? And lately, the Eagles have regressed every single year since winning the Super Bowl. So I do think Washington is going to win the game. Therefore, I think that Washington is going to be the final piece to my NFC puzzle. Tim, we'll go to you. Now, you did say that you agreed with Scott in his playoff scenarios, which would mean that you think Dallas is going to win the NFC East, which would mean that Philadelphia, in your eyes, is going to win this game. Let's hear it.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Sorry, so I love you for this. Your perfect scenario, Doug Peterson in the Super Bowl. If those 2 plays don't work, they don't win. If Eli Manning in the Super Bowls, if his 2 miracle passes don't connect, they don't win. Guess what? Here is part 2 of Doug Peterson's miracle Super Bowl, because this is the only way he's going to keep his job. You keep Washington out of the playoffs. You show that you made the right decision finally by switching away from Carson Wentz, regardless of how much money your front office paid him to be the guy. This is the game to make that happen. Philly has literally everything to play for right now. If you like your coach, if you like the new quarterback, if you want to play the spoiler and keep washing out, I guess if you're a Philly fan and you hate the Giants or the Cowboys more, then yeah, lose on purpose, get a better pick. Let Washington be the representative of the NFC East. I don't see it happening. Alex Smith is going to play? I don't know. Not right now. He's not. So go Eagles. Scary Terry going to play? Not right now. Go Eagles. Washington is their last 3 games are putting up like 17 points a game. Eagles are putting up well over 20. It's only one. I had it at plus 1.5. You're telling me plus 2, whatever. Money line Eagles.
This morning it went up like a half hour before we shot the show.
Okay, give me the Eagles at plus whatever, even whatever, giving whatever. They're going to win the game. I hate that Nick doesn't trust. From the points he outlined, I can understand why you wouldn't trust them. I just don't see. Listen, if
I got more points. We'll turn this into a little bit of a debate. I've been writing down as you've been talking, just so I can, make sure I don't miss anything. So
no, you're good. If Alex Smith does play, I like Washington. Washington's front 7, as we outlined all year, has been getting after the quarterback. But their quarterback is not fucking Carson Wentz. I'll bet every dollar in my bank account that Jalen Hurts is not getting sacked 8 times. Disclaimer: TruExact Radio does not accept any Tim bets as we're going live. I got you, Scott. Don't worry. It's fine. I can't see it happening. He can't play worse than Carson Wentz played Week 1. Cannot.
So here's the deal. So the first thing you mentioned is Doug Peterson's playing for his job. He's been playing for his job all year. They've been regressing every year since the Super Bowl. They only made it to the second round of the playoffs the year after winning the Super Bowl because Cody Parkey's a terrible kicker, and we had the double doink.
You made the playoffs.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
And if Alshon Jeffrey doesn't drop a pass, you might beat the Saints.
They do beat the Saints if Alshon Jeffrey doesn't.
So you're in another NFC championship.
The entire thing is hypotheticals. If Carson Wentz doesn't get hurt last year against Clowney and the Seahawks, who knows what happens? But I think he's already proved that Hurts is the better option to Carson Wentz, or at least has been over the last couple of weeks. You mentioned Philly has everything to play for. Washington actually has everything to play for. The narrative is there. Their coach is battling cancer. Their quarterback was told he was never going to play a football game again. He comes back and plays. He's definitely comeback player of the year. So if you're playing the heartwarming narrative, they have something to actually play for. And they're going to play their hearts out for their coach who's battling cancer, and they're going to play their hearts out for their quarterback, who Ron Rivera said earlier that by all indications is going to start this game, which makes this a non-debate because, to your point, and I agree, if Alex Smith is playing, Washington's going to win. But even if he's not playing, and even if it's Nicky, and I get it, Carson Wentz was the quarterback at the time, but they barely beat the Cowboys with Ben DiNucci. Like, it doesn't matter who's quarterbacking. They're going to score points on the Philadelphia defense. The Philadelphia defense is awful. At this point right now, their defense sucks. Anybody's scoring points on them. So now it becomes, can you score points, more points, than the Washington football team? And the only way to do it is to get time in the pocket for Jalen Hurts, which I don't see with the front seven that Washington has. Chase Young's going to kill him. You saw how many times that Dallas got to him. I forget the guy off the top of my head, but he had a great game for Dallas.
Randy Gregory.
Yes, who had a great game against Dallas, and you've already seen Jalen Hurts fumble twice in big spots, almost costing the Saints to come back and beat them, which I would have loved because I had him in my survivor pool. Fuck the Eagles there. But fumbled the ball, even though it wasn't a true fumbled the ball against Dallas and cost them that game. So I just don't see a way where, can Philly win? Sure, Philly can win. Anything can happen. But I don't see Philadelphia beating the Washington football
Nick,
team.
put it
The Washington football team was a better team in Week 1, and they're a better team now.
But I just don't understand this narrative of Alex Smith being this great quarterback. Are you really gonna tell me Jalen Hurts is that much worse than Alex Smith? I don't see. No,
right now I would take if Jalen Hurts was on the Washington football team and Alex Smith was on the Eagles and they're playing the same game. So I'm taking the Washington football team.
So in Week 1, Dwayne Haskins beat Carson Wentz. You're telling me that Jalen Hurts can't beat Alex Smith? I just don't see. I don't think Alex Smith's that good to begin with. And how does he win? How does he win comeback player of the year automatically when Roethlisberger's done what he's done? I just have to throw that. I know it's a great story and all, but how does that win comeback player of the year? Just because
he started?
Did you watch the documentary on?
I did. I don't care. So what? I mean, great for him. Great for him. But how does that automatically give him comeback player of the year? Tim, are you with me on this?
Big Ben came back from an injury. Alex Smith came back he almost died from the injury that he had. He actually literally almost died. He almost had his leg amputated.
I know that. I know the story, but he wasn't the best player who came back this year. It was Roethlisberger. I mean, that's just that.
So you think right now? So right now, you think Big Ben's going to win comeback player?
I'm not saying no because everyone's soft, and we'll give it to Alex Smith because of the story. If you want to be realistic, Roethlisberger should win it.
Alex Smith should win comeback player of the year. For
Why?
stepping foot on a
not
football
calling you
field, he
soft.
should win
I
Comeback
would-
Player of the Year.
I would not call you soft because you put boxing gloves on and spar the fuck out of me. But with Scott, man, Big Ben is the comeback player of the year. Listen, give Alex Smith the comeback player of a lifetime. Like of a lifetime, he could be the best, the biggest comeback. Like that's like if with Theismann who got his leg fucking snapped in half. But like if he came back, that's fine. Yeah, I get the narrative. The narrative's there. Is Alex Smith probably going to win? Yeah. Should he win? Probably not. I mean, in the way that the award is set up, he probably shouldn't. But whatever. Give him one of the ESPYs or whatever the fuck those fake awards are. Give Alex Smith one of those for the most inspirational player of the year, and that'll be the comeback player of the year. Not in real football. In real football, Big Ben is your comeback player.
Man, why is y'all hate on Alex Smith so hard?
I don't know. I don't understand.
Damn, bro.
I'm the same dude who picked Washington to win the division back on Thanksgiving before they throttled the fucking Cowboys. Listen, from one game to another, shit changed in the NFL. If Alex Smith is playing, they have a very good shot at beating the Eagles. I just think the Eagles, as a team, have more to play for to knock Washington out. That's what I'm basing it on. If the Eagles show up and lay a donut, well, guess what, Nick? I'll do a shot in your honor of whatever you choose. It's going to be El Rudo or some fucking terrible goddamn fucking tequila that only...
Hey, listen, El Rudo's some good stuff, right? Don't knock El Rudo.
Yeah, it's terrible. Nick knows it's terrible.
I like Alex Smith. I think he's like, I root for him. I think it's an awesome story. I think he got a shaft in San Fran. But, like, it's just not... I'm not going to give it to someone because I feel bad. That's just not me. Like, so
you give him the comeback player of the year because he actually played a football game when he wasn't supposed to come back and play a football game.
His career was supposed to be
If he came
done.
in and played one game and sucked, I still give it to him because
His career was supposed to be done, and he came back.
Timeout. So when Colin Kaepernick comes back in a year, does he get comeback player of the year?
No, because he didn't almost die. He kneeled for the national anthem and is blackballed from the league.
Yeah.
There's a complete difference.
So if he comes
And he's
back,
not coming back because of the point I just made.
Yeah,
He's blackballed from the league. He's never coming back. If you want to play him in Madden, you can play him in Madden. Alex Smith almost died. Then he almost had his leg amputated.
Yeah.
Then he came back, and they said, he's just on the team. He's not going to play. Then he played. Then he won games. That's why he wins over Big Ben. Big Ben had a better year. Big Ben also played more games. Big Ben's going to go further in the playoffs.
Right.
I agree. All of that. But comeback player of the year isn't stat related in terms of like who had the best year of all the guys that came back.
I get it. It's not a real award.
You're right. I thought that was what it was. Isn't that the stat though? Who was the best player to come back? I mean, I don't.
No, comeback player of the year is. I mean, I guess it could be, but the comeback player of the year is going to be Alex Smith. So, to your point, if it's based purely on stats, and we all agree that Alex Smith is going to win, then it clearly isn't based on stats.
Well, that's the point me and Tim are making. It's a bullshit award then. I mean, like, wouldn't you base it on who has the best year? Who the MVP is who is the best player in the NFL, correct? So why wouldn't the comeback player of the year be the best player who played to come back? I mean, that's...
First of all, so we're going off topic, and we can talk about this forever, but when Matt Moore was the quarterback of the Packers, they won a lot of games too. So if Aaron Rodgers isn't on the Packers, they probably still win a lot of games. Are they the number one seed? No, but they probably win a lot of games. I can think of a ton of other players that if they're not on that team, they don't come anywhere near the amount of wins that they have.
Wait, are you talking about Matt Flynn?
That's what I meant, sorry. But if the definition is MVP as in most valuable player, the most valuable player to their team, I don't think it's Aaron Rodgers. The fact that it always goes to a quarterback with the best stats means that Aaron Rodgers is going to win the MVP.
So I think they should have a Player of the Year award and an MVP, especially in baseball, too. I've always said that. That's another.
I also agree with that in baseball.
That's another topic.
In football, the MVP is always a quarterback. When Randy Moss,
it's always a quarterback.
When he broke the record for most touchdowns in a season, they gave the MVP to Tom Brady.
Because he also broke for the most passing touchdowns. So, I mean,
thanks to Randy Moss, though.
I wonder what the fans will be split on the Alex Smith thing is. I'm curious to hear that.
We'll put a poll up. There will be a poll.
He's like, yeah, does Alex Smith deserve comeback player of the year?
It's not that he doesn't deserve it. That's not what I said.
No. Does he deserve it? Yes.
Yes.
Is he going to get it? I don't know. There's some, as Scott said, there's some soft people out there. They're not soft. It's just, it would be the right thing to do, right?
Right.
The right thing to do would follow the narrative that everyone loves, and Alex Smith.
You gotta also take the severity of what he's coming back from, also.
Right.
I agree. What I'm saying, has there been a comeback player of the year before Alex Smith, who's come back from an injury and not played every game or played to a certain...
Offhand, I do not know the comeback player winner list, but I'm saying, like...
Fake award, sir. We know it. That's fine. I get it.
Wasn't there a Giants linebacker from Boston College who, like, had a heart thing that couldn't play again and ended up playing in a game? Like, that's kind of the same thing, right? Roughly. Like, if a doctor says you can't play football because your heart and you might die any snap and they come and play, should they win?
Wait. But you said he had the injury. He had that in college, correct?
I don't know exactly. It was Herzlich.
So he technically didn't come back.
Herzlich?
Mark Herzlich.
Right,
Mark Herzlich.
right.
But if he had that in pros, had that injury or whatever, and then came back and played, he would have won. But he had it in college and then played.
All right, fair enough.
He's not really coming back from anything. He's just, like...
I think to your point, though, I mean, Alex Smith is going to win. But I think to your point, at 8-0, when the Steelers were 8-0 with Big Ben, I think if they had finished the number one seed, I think he would have had a very strong argument. But the fact that it's based on trends and what have you done for me lately, assuming Alex Smith leads them to the playoffs, in a lot of ways the Steelers limp into the playoffs, even though the Steelers, Big Ben last week led that comeback, played great all year, led the comeback against the Colts when they were down 24-7. To me, it's Alex Smith. I'm with Sir on this.
All right, fair enough.
We'll put the poll up. So ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm taking Washington, and Tim, you're taking Philly. So there will be a winner of the primetime picks. My best bet for Week 17 is that Alex Smith will win Comeback Player of the Year.
Okay. Give me Green Bay -5.5. Go ahead.
Green Bay -5 against the Bears.
I'm gonna take Green Bay too. I love that pick, man.
Jets +3.5.
Terrible. Thanks, guys. We'll see you for the wild card round of sharp bets and fantasy sets. Thank you.